What up, everybody? Welcome back. Today I wanted to start a new series. So, as you guys know, I've been playing through Wild Arms, first of many Japanese RPGs I plan on playing through with y'all. And what I wanted to do to supplement those playthroughs is a little like synopsis / my thoughts and feelings on what's going on in the story at that particular time, like a review kind of thing. And I plan on doing it whenever the game either A, has a natural stopping point, or B, I feel like I've progressed through enough of the story to make one of these videos. So for this one, we're gonna do the Prelude, which is 3 separate character stories, all the way up through the beginning of the main adventure. So basically like the prologue. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first character I chose is Rudy. Like I said earlier, the 3 characters, Rudy, Jack, and Cecilia, have their own separate stories at the beginning before they meet up and team up. So Rudy is a dream chaser. So dream chasers in this world are basically treasure hunters. And he's at this village called Surf looking for odd jobs. And he gets swept up in this situation where this kid named Tony, dad is sick, and he goes to this off-limits cave to find this special berry to heal him, which, you know, it's pretty noble of the kid. Like, you know that you shouldn't be doing stuff like that, but he also probably knows that no one's gonna take the risk to go in there and find it, so he just decided to do it himself. And in typical RPG villager fashion, they find out about this situation, and for some reason they have no idea what to do about it. So Rudy, being the dream chaser that he is, decides to take matters into his own hands, which I would imagine when you dream chase, bro, you do stuff like that. You don't mind your business, you know what I mean? He just seems like the type of dude that's always down to help no matter what. And boy, does Tony need help. He gets down to the bottom of this cave, and there's this sealed off part, which is sealed because apparently there's a demon that lives there, but nobody knows that. Well, Rudy and Tony don't know that, and Rudy breaks the seal. And I don't know if breaking the seal was entering that part of the cavern or taking the berry from its resting place, because as soon as you pick it up, like this giant like monolith behind it cracks, and there's this giant earthquake, shakes the entire world. And after that situation, you go back up, the villagers are waiting for you. Obviously they're appreciative that you rescued Tony, and they're on Tony's ass because he shouldn't have been in that cave in the first place. But after that, the demon gets to the surface, so Rudy takes it on by himself. And in the process, he uses what's called, well, the arm in Wild Arms. The arm in Wild Arms refers to guns. And in this world, guns are a forbidden power. And only certain people have the ability to use them. And one of those people is Rudy. But the stigma behind arms is that they're dangerous, they're evil, they're cursed. And once this battle ends, like, everybody in the village is freaked out. Like, they don't care that you rescued them from this demon. They do not care that you rescued Tony. They don't care that you inadvertently saved Tony's dad by rescuing Tony. They just care that Rudy has his arm is evil, Rudy gotta go. Which, that's one thing, I guess that's a trope that's always bothered me, is X character risks their lives to save these people from whatever situation it happens to be, and X character has some kind of forbidden or hidden or special power, something that makes them different. So despite putting your life on the line for these people that you don't know, they don't care. It becomes a situation of you're different and you're bad, so you gotta go. And that's what happened to Rudy. Like, I guess, I always wonder if Rudy knew what the situation was gonna be once he rescued Tony and got back to the surface and did all these things to save them, if he still would have did what he did. I personally think that he would have, because he just seems like that type of dude, like the natural born hero. The natural born hero type. He comes off as that, like the Naruto, Goku, like type of person, like whatever the danger is, I don't do it for thanks. I don't do it for money or admiration. I do it because you needed help and I was able to help you. I really think that's what it is, but at the same time though, you gotta feel some type of way when you risk your life for people you don't know and there's absolutely no appreciation for it whatsoever. But he rescues them, does a thing. They freak on him because he can use an arm, and they decide that they need to hold a village meeting to figure out what the fate of Rudy is gonna be. Which, I don't live in your village, bro. Like, if you don't want me to be here, I can just bounce. Which does end up happening. The mayor meets with him after the meeting and tells him that he's gotta go and you can't come back. It's like, fuck. So, all right, I guess I'm out. And before you go, obviously, the one person with any type of common sense, Tony, runs up on you and thanks you for saving him and his dad, which is really sweet because, you know, some type of gratitude is nice, you know what I mean? Like, Tony's that dude. He knows what's up. He's not scared of the arm. He just knows that Rudy risked his life for him, and that's all that matters. The next character I chose after this is Jack. And Jack is also a dream chaser, and he's searching for it's called the power. Now, we don't know what the power is. The power can be a weapon, it can be magic, it can be an arm, but Jack doesn't care what it is exactly. He just knows he has to find it. So he and his little homie, a wind mouse named Hat Pen that lives on his shoulder, they go to this place called the Temple of Memory, which Jack thinks has clues to where the power is, and Hat Pan knows that this spot is popular and there's probably nothing here. But they proceed to explore the temple anyway. And what makes the Temple of Memory is that it houses a database in a secret room that they find of this ancient race that used to live on Falgia called the Eel. E-L-W, that's how it's spelled. And they activate this console and a hologram of an eel appears and starts speaking to Jack directly in his mind. And he starts telling him about Lolithia and how dangerous Lolithia is. Do not resurrect Lolithia. Lolithia will destroy the world, blah, 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 blah. And Jack's sitting here listening to this. He's like, okay. Sounds like that might be the power. Let's go find it. So with that, that's literally what happens. They listen to this message, and Jack decides that, I gotta find Lolithia. Like, this has to be a clue to where the power is. So him and Hat Pan break out and head to Alehide to try and find clues to where Lolithia is and see if that provides clues to the power. Jack's story right now, of the three characters, it's honestly the most uninteresting, and that's because you don't really know much about him, what he's doing, or where he's going. Like, he's looking for the power, he's a treasure hunter, he has a mouse that talks. That's Jack. That's the whole character. So I'm hoping that somewhere down the line they start fleshing him out. You start finding out more about his past. You find out more about his motivations, because it's like, why do you want this power? You have no idea. You just, right now, all you know is that he wants it. You don't know why he wants it. And it's kind of weird to have a lust for power in these types of things and not be evil. You know what I mean? Like, a lust for power without a reason, you're usually evil. But I'm sure there's some kind of, like, I would imagine it's either a revenge storyline or Yeah, a revenge storyline is what I'm going to go with. I feel like that makes the most sense for someone like a loner that's just looking for power. Like, you want to fight and conquer something. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that. But we'll see. Hopefully it's deeper than that. I don't have my hopes up considering how old this game is and when it was made. But you never know, man. This is around the time where Japanese RPGs started evolving away from a lot of the tropes that were in the previous like Super Nintendo generation. They kind of started doing different things with storylines and PS1 RPGs, like Xenogears and things like that came along. So, I don't know, we'll see. It's been so long since I played this game, I honestly don't remember. But that's Jack in a nutshell. And then the last character is Cecilia. And I really, really enjoy this character because so far she's the one that has the most to lose and or gain in the story. Like, obviously it's a save the world kind of thing, so everybody has something to lose, but her personal battle is really interesting. Like, her identity is that of a princess, and she feels like that's her only value in life, is being a princess. Not being Cecilia, not being a girl who likes X, Y, or Z. You're princess. That's it. That's all you do. No one even calls you by your name, bro. Everyone calls you princess. And the mental battle that she has with dealing with that and reconciling who she is and who she's supposed to be seems like that's going to be really cool. But anyway, I jumped the gun on that. Let me tell you what happened. So she's in is it Curran Abbey? I think that's what it's called. But she has a vision from one of the guardians that she is what's called the innocent one. And it's her mission to find and gather the guardians and help save the world. In a nutshell, that's what she's supposed to do. So she's told that she needs to find the secret library that's in the Abbey. So she goes on the quest, gets all these clues, finds out where the secret library is. In the secret library, go through the dungeon, go through the motions, and we find this room with a book in it. And now this book is where the Guardian is. But it turns out that the Guardian is trapped in the book by a demon that we have to fight. She fights the demon, the ghoul, rescues Stoldark, and he tells her that you're the innocent one. I've been waiting for you to free me from this book. And the world is dying. And it is. Because you find out, and I didn't mention this in Rudy's little section, but they mention how desert is encroaching on the land more and more, and all the green is dying. So Stoldar tells Cecilia that everything begins with Lolithia. So it's funny that when Jack encounters Lolithia in Legend, he's warned that she's dangerous. Don't go there, don't free her, leave her alone. But the Guardians are telling Cecilia to find Lolithia. Now, I don't know if that's a situation where Lolithia is here to help you, so you need to find her, or if it's a situation of you need to get to Lolithia before someone else does, because if someone else finds her, it's a wrap. So we don't really know that yet, but I'm thinking that Lolithia is just a tool, and whoever has that tool determines how that tool is used, whether that be for good or evil. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now, but we'll see. We see what Lolithia is a little bit later, and I guess that's what reinforces that theory that I have about it, but still, don't know. So, after you do all the 3 little prologue stories, everyone gathers in Eldhide. Now, you can do this in multiple ways. It doesn't really matter. You can walk everyone there. You can take one person, walk them to the landmarks where everyone else is, whatever. As long as you get all 3 characters to Eldhide, that's what matters. Once you get there, you walk into town, and then these 3 dudes burst into town talking about that there's been an accident at Lolithia's tomb. And they need to speak with a woman called Emma to get help about it. So, considering that Jack is looking for Lolithia and Cecilia is looking for Lolithia, this is a good clue as to where we need to be next. So in my playthrough, I was Rudy, got there first. I went with him, spoke with Emma, and she offers you a job for $500 to help her excavate Lolithia, help you with this issue in Lolithia's tomb. But it's going to be dangerous, so if you have friends, bring them. So that's when we encounter Jack and Cecilia, find out that they too are looking for Lolithia, so they decide, let's team up, handle this situation, and see what happens. So we go to Lolithia's tomb, find Lolithia. Hatpan gives us a little history lesson on what Lolithia is. So Lolithia is a golem, and there's a whole gang of these guys, and their power almost destroyed the world. The eels locked them away and sealed them so their power could never be used again. Now this is why Jack was warned not to touch Lolithia, because these guys fought Lolithia and beat her and locked her away in hopes that no one would ever touch her again. So why the Guardians want Cecilia to find Lolithia is still kind of up in the air. But we find her. Emma excavates her for a festival that is in Alehide the following day, where all these golems are going to be on display, and all these golems are going to be in one place at the same time. So it's the next day, you wake up, the festival starts. Now before you do anything, I want to give you a pro tip. Find Emma and get your money, because you can miss your money, and I miss my money, and I want my money. But anyway, festival starts, you're walking around having a good time, and there's a character that you speak to that pops everything off. It's a mother looking for her son. She's like, my son, I can't find him. He has a red balloon. Can you help me look for him? All right, cool. So you walk into town, and you see the kid in the square holding a red balloon. You speak to the kid, and then that's when everything pops off. He loses the balloon floats up to the sky. You look up at the sky, and it starts cracking. The sky itself starts cracking and falling apart. And this is where the good old demon invasion begins. Belzec, this giant green demon with this huge tail and this chain ball, invades Alehide in order to steal the golems and get the teardrop from Cecilia. The teardrop is Cecilia's tool. It's a little jewel that's been passed down through the royal family, and now it's in possession of Cecilia. And it's something that the demon race needs in order to do what it is they gotta do. At this point, you don't know what they need it for, you just know that they need it. So the attack starts, you're going through the village, you're trying to find survivors so you can bring them to the castle. You find everyone that you can, and you get into the castle to get away from this attack. When you get to the castle, you find out that the demons have made demands, and their demands are, we want the teardrop. Now, the king, smart man, doesn't want you to give it up. He knows that the teardrop is key to fighting the demon race, and is key to doing whatever the demon race is trying to do. The teardrop is the key. But Cecilia is more concerned with saving the people. So with Rudy and Jack's help, she escapes the castle, meets up with the demons, and hands them the teardrop with the promise that if I give you the teardrop, you'll leave. So she hands over the teardrop. The demons are actually about to bounce. Then Jack starts bumping his gums, talking stuff, and Belzec attacks. So after the fight, you win the fight, but in reality, in the story, you don't win the fight. You're not even strong enough to put a dent in this dude. So he laughs at you and bounces. And then you go back to the castle, let the king know, hey, we gave him the teardrop. He had to get out of here. We had to get the demons out of here. So that now begins the quest to recover the teardrop and fight the demon race. Jack, Rudy, and Cecilia team up after some convincing from Cecilia to let her come along with Jack and Rudy. And our first clue is that we need to head west. We start our quest after we talk to Johan 1 week after the attack. Now this is 1 week after the attack. So we speak with Johan, tells us that we need to head west, go to Milama Village. So we head to Milama Village. And just up until this point, now, as far as the demon attack itself, so I don't have a lot of thoughts on the stuff that happened. Like, they got back to the village, they grouped up, they went to Lolithia's tomb, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool, we learned some stuff. But the act of handing over the teardrop, that's a tough one, because I get why she did it. She is responsible for her people, and if she knows that handing over this item will get these demons to leave, that's what she's gonna do. But at the same time, I think it's not thinking big picture. Big picture is they have this teardrop now, the demons, and you have no idea what they want to do with this, but you're willing to hand it over to save one town of people as opposed to maybe saving the entire world. But then again, I don't know, man, that's a tough decision. I can't really blame her for what she did, and the more I think about it, the more I understand. Because then I was playing through it at first and she was doing it, I was like, bro, what are you doing? That's so dumb. But I don't think it is as dumb as I thought it was at the time. I get it. You know what I mean? It's just tough because that sets the wheels in motion for the demon race to accomplish their goal. And I think stopping that is much more important than saving some people in the village. But it is what it is. Hopefully this doesn't end up being... Hopefully it ends up being something that they don't end up regretting. So once we get to Milama, we speak to a bartender whose dad used to be a priest at the Temple of the Guardians. And he tells us about a secret room that only priests were permitted to see, and gives us the way to reach that room. So we head to the Temple of the Guardians, fight through, and then once we enter that room, we're all split up again. So everybody goes through their own kind of like mental journey. So with Rudy, he ends up back in this room with the villagers of Surf. When you walk in, Tony's there and he's like, oh, Tony, what's good? You all right, bro? And Tony's flipped on you, absolutely terrified of you and your arm. And more villagers from Surf pop up and just start berating Rudy because he's different. That's basically what it boils down to. And that's a very relatable storyline for so many people, which I think is the reason why he resonates with me right now more than anybody else. But yeah, he's berated by these imaginary villagers to the point where he falls to his knees. And then he's transported to this platform. Like, all three of them end up together again on this platform after they go through their ordeal. Jack thinks he finds the power, this sword that is stuck in the ground, and he tries to pull it out, and he can't access the power. And you kind of get a glimpse into why he's looking for the power. Apparently it is a revenge story. He had homies that he used to run with that are no longer with us, and he thinks that finding the power is the way to avenge those fallen comrades. And then with Cecilia, it's what I talked about earlier with her mental ordeal of her identity. That she's viewed as not a person, but just a princess that is basically a tool. She's a means to an end. She's not a person. And they even say in that flashback, like, you notice no one calls you by your name. Everyone calls you princess. That's all you are to us, is just a princess. You're not a person. And then that's tough too, bro. These characters are really relatable, I think. Like Rudy's struggle with being different just for being who he is. Like he didn't ask for this power, he just has it. And now he's ostracized and feared for it. He ain't signed up for that. That's not his fault. Cecilia's story of just trying to come to terms with who she is, just trying to be herself and have people accept her for being Cecilia and not being the princess. And then Jack's story, there's a moment in everyone's life where they feel powerless and they want something to make that feeling go away, something that they can believe in, something that makes them feel like they're in control. And I think that's what the power is for Jack. He's trying to bring the sense of normalcy that he lost back into his life. And the power is the way to do that. This game is really cool. But once we're all together again, we meet with these rude ass guardians that they don't have much faith in our party because of the way they handled the ordeals that they just went through. But at this point, they don't have a choice. So they lend them the little power that they have left to combat the demon race. And before we wrap this up, we have one more scene where we meet the Quarter Knights. And those are the demons that are here to destroy the world. Lady Harkin, Belzec, Zealfried, and his name starts with an A. I can't pronounce it, and I'm just going to butcher it if I even try. But their goal is to resurrect their leader, Mother. And it seems like as far as that goes, they're all on the same page. But it seems like, because in the scene, they're all talking and then everyone leaves except Zealfried. And it seems like he has a special connection with Mother that no one else has. And it seems like he has plans of his own once Mother is resurrected that do not involve the other three. So we'll see how that unfolds. I'm really interested to see what that thread is. But once that's over, we wake up and we're right outside Baskar Village. And as of right now in the game, that's where I am. So that's where I'm going to cut it. This game looks like it's going to be a beast. The story so far hasn't really fleshed itself out, but interestingly enough, the characters themselves have been fleshed out to the point where I do care about them. I was explaining in Jack's storyline that there's not much that goes on with him, but once you get to the Temple of the Guardians and you see his flashback and you start getting glimpses as to why he's looking for this power, he becomes a lot more interesting of a character. And I think Cecilia and Rudy were interesting from the start. Like I said, Rudy's ordeal is extremely relatable, as is Cecilia's, but she's kind of like a driving factor of the story on top of dealing with the issues of person versus princess, which I think is a really cool dynamic. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for now. I'm definitely going to come back with more of these once I get more into the story and have stuff to discuss with you guys. But anyway, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the content, please subscribe. I always appreciate any support I can get. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.